I wanted to share a little bit about my experience in some of the things that led to me overcoming my codependency. So I was in a relationship with someone and we were married, and there were a lot of things about this person I didn't know about and a lot of things that were hidden from me. But kind of towards the end of our relationship, there were things that happened that kind of what can happen to someone that's codependent in a relationship with someone that attracted the codependent person. And basically, we attracted each other. But when you're codependent, you have a tendency to attract certain kind of people. They could be narcissists. I don't want to go into detail. I'm not a psychiatrist, psychologist, but if you look it up, you'll see these are people that have like bipolar disorder, borderline personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, that kind of range of disorders. So kind of what led us to the breakup and let me realize where I was at, and I went through a lot of changes during this time. But I was afraid to lose this relationship. So I just want to share these experiences, right? I'm not blaming this person for my codependency. I was codependent and I attracted this person. But I wanted to share some things in my experiences so that maybe it'll help you as you are struggling to overcome your codependency and break away from your relationship. And it could be a partner, significant other, it could be family members. Because when you're codependent, right, you might have this kind of push-pull kind of relationship. You're like, this person's not good for you. The relationship's not good for you. You kind of want to push them away, but then you know you could potentially lose them, so you pull them back. And you go through this cycles constantly because you can't break free from it. So some of the things that this person did that to this day still terrify me, but hopefully if I share these with you, you'll recognize these things if they apply to you, and you'll say, this isn't right. So one of the things that they did was gaslight. And that's basically where they make you doubt your own reality. And so you think you're wrong for everything. You try to express yourself, and let's say the color is blue, and this person will say, no, you're wrong. That's not blue. But it's blue. So that's what gaslighting is like. But you would try to talk to this person and tell them about things, and they would say it's not true. They would accuse you of things that you weren't doing. Like in my case, I was accused of having an affair with my therapist, even though this person recommended I go see a therapist. And I never met my therapist in person. It was every session I had with my therapist was over Zoom. But this person, one of the things that they accused me of was having an affair with my therapist when I never met them in person. And so that was one thing, the gaslighting, the accusations. Then the other thing was when it came to the point where I challenged this person just to say, hey, don't you remember you said you were going to be this way, and we were going to be this way, and it was a blank look. I had never experienced this before. Like, I was living with a stranger, like completely, a mask had fallen off. And for the 6 or 7 years I was with this person, I didn't recognize them. They were totally devoid of emotion and just any kind of care or concern. That was one scary part. So that's the kind of like the devaluing, and then came the discard. Basically, you're no use to me. You're no value to me. And this is all the while both her and her son are living in the same house with me. So they're not talking to me. Like for weeks on end, I am in a house with people that are not talking to me. I'm paying the bills, supporting them, and they're not speaking to me. They don't acknowledge me. Like, it's like I'm not even there, like I'm invisible. And to me, I would never want to experience that again. And I would not wish that on anyone, that experience where someone is gaslighting you, someone devalues you, someone discards you. And I'm sharing this again because I want you to see that if you have these kind of experiences, they are not normal. They are not healthy. They are not good for you. If you're codependent, you might be accustomed to this type of behavior. You might think this is normal. You might think this is acceptable. Or maybe you realize this is not acceptable behavior. This is not normal. But you still choose to stay in it. So regardless, it's wrong all the way around. You shouldn't be in this type of relationship. You shouldn't be in a relationship in whatever form it is, with whoever it is, where they gaslight you, where they devalue you, where they discard you, and you continue to take them back. And I will say that, okay, this was a challenge for me because this happened to me twice within a span of a few months, but this was the first time ever it happened to me. And again, I didn't realize I was codependent. So the first time it happened to me, again, is when I started pursuing, I went to a therapist because I wanted to do everything I could to save the relationship. I thought it was all on me. That's how I was made to feel. That's what a person will do to you when they have this type of behavior. I've mentioned the love bombing before, but we were past that. And that's just when they shower you with all these affection, gifts, and all these things to make you feel like you're so special and great. And that's just to reel you in. But that happened before. So, but the real things that happened that came after, the other things that came after, which were the gaslighting and the devaluing and the discarding, those things kind of happened around the same time. But the first time they happened, it happened for about 2 weeks. And I was completely shocked, right? And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm ruining I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I'm ruining I'm ruining the best thing that ever happened to me. So, of course, I rushed to get therapy. I was doing all that I could. But the gaslighting continued, the devaluing, the discarding, and I accepted it, right? And because I was afraid of losing this relationship and thought it was all my fault, I did everything I could. I made up with this person. We started speaking again, or rather, she started speaking to me again, started softening up to me again. And then her son, or she gave permission to her son, and he started talking to me again. But I did say to myself, if this behavior happens again, that's it, I'm done. And even during the first time, my therapist told me, this is not normal behavior. This is not acceptable. And my therapist was supportive, when after the first 2 weeks, we came back together and was like, great, I'm happy for you. Glad this is working out, if you think it's the best thing for you. But I did promise myself that if it happened again, then I knew that this was a habit. Then I knew as little as I knew about love bombing and gaslighting and devaluing and discarding, I still was like, okay, I'm going to right now stay in this, but if it happens again, I have to leave this relationship because I know it's going to continue. It's a habit. It is. I mean, the first time I was shocked that it happened, and I was still afraid, right? But I was more so afraid of losing something that I thought was going to be my fault. But then it happened again, and I said, no, I'm not going to tolerate it. And the silent treatment began again, both her and her son living in the same house, not speaking to me. And to prove a point, I packed up everything in my car while they were still in the house, because what she would do is she would go into the office and stay there all day, do schoolwork because she was in school, not speak to me at all. She would go as soon as her son would go off to work, because he graduated high school. As soon as her son would go off to work, she would go into the office, not be in the same area with me. If she'd make her food, she'd make their food, have her coffee, then leave and go back up to the office. She would not stay in the same room with me. She would only come out when her son would come back from work. So one weekend I decided while she is in the office, and it was actually from like a Friday to a Sunday, while she was in the office, little by little, I would be packing things up. Well, actually, I kind of started organizing things in the closet in a discreet manner so she wouldn't notice. But I started loading up the car little by little because she wouldn't be in the car with me anymore. But little by little, I started loading up the car. And a Sunday afternoon, when I had everything loaded, I opened up the garage door. I put the remote back in the garage, closed the garage door, and I left. It was one of the hardest decisions I've made in my life, but I knew it was the right thing to do. And I was already in the process of working on my codependency and feeling stronger and empowered. But I share this story with you because if you are in a codependent relationship and you're going back and forth and you're dealing with any kind of abuse, whether it's verbal, physical, psychological, it is not normal, it's not healthy. And again, I can't say this enough. When we developed our codependency, we adopted habits that became normal for us. Emotional abuse, physical abuse, verbal abuse, psychological abuse in whatever form is not acceptable. It's not healthy. It's not normal. If you need to leave, if you're able to leave, get out. If you're not able to leave at the moment, start working on strategies to do so, but in a safe manner where you don't get harmed. And I just want to close with this, that one of the things you're likely also going to have to do is go no contact, zero contact. That was the best thing for me because I did not want to be pulled back into that. And I needed to set those clear, definitive boundaries that I was not going back to that. I was not going to tolerate it. I was not going to accept it. So I hope this helps. It's a little bit of a longer video, but I hope this helps. And in me sharing my story with you, kind of maybe if you see some similarities or some things that are kind of resonating with you where you're like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. I shouldn't be doing this anymore. Please don't, because there's a better life waiting for you beyond codependency. You might not seem like that, but there is. I promise you, this I can promise you, there is a better life beyond codependency. I hope this video helps and take care.